Well, our Carabao Cup journey lasted one match, didn't it? It didn't last particularly long, but still. So obviously, for those of you who don't know, Sunderland drew 0-0 with Hull City at the Stadium of Light in the first round of the Carabao Cup and lost 5-4 on penalties, Will Grigg being the Sunderland player who missed it, unfortunately for him. But saying that, I did want to sort of do a reaction to this game. And normally I don't really bother with cup games, but I did think this warranted a bit of reaction to it. And obviously, as is the first time we've played a competitive game of football for 6 months, I did think it was a bit warranted. It's nice to be back doing this again and not just talking about off the field stuff. It's nice actually talking about games of football. But I sort of wanted to just get across how, because I watched the whole game. I was fortunate enough to be able to watch the whole game. So I'm very much just wanting to get my thoughts on it. Obviously, I wouldn't go as far to say that I wanted to lose. I would never go that far. I would never want Sunderland to lose a game. It would take exceptional circumstances for me to ever want Sunderland to lose a match. But as for getting knocked out, I don't actually think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing for the state of for this competition. Bearing in mind, I saw somewhere that apparently the first 4 rounds of the Carabao Cup reportedly could be getting played in September to try and squeeze all the games in. Hence why there's no midweek games in September. And for me, we could do without that. I think this means our squad will be fresher for the league games. I said to me mates before the game that I would be not happy, that's the wrong word, but I would be content enough and accept going out on penalties, as long as, but I was more bothered about the team performance. And I was more bothered about how we looked. Considering this is our first competitive game of the season and only a week away from the start of the League One campaign, I was more interested to see how the team actually shaped up and actually looked alongside each other, and how the team may or may not have gelled alongside each other. And I was quite pleased. Actually, I was quite pleased with what. If you take away obviously the penalties, Lee Bird, you could argue, could have saved maybe 1 or 2 of Hull's penalties, considering they went the same way almost every time. For me, I was very in terms of the 90 minutes, I was very encouraged by what I saw. I think that Grigg and O'Brien, for me, were the 2 best players on the pitch. I think Grigg especially the first half. I think Grigg was the best player of the first half by some way, and O'Brien was obviously very good as well. That is now, I know it's not saying much, but for me, that is easily the best I've seen Will Grigg play in a Sunderland shirt since he signed. I think that now obviously this isn't saying much. This is the sort of commitment and the sort of style and pressing that we should really have seen 18 months ago, to be honest. However, you can definitely tell that there is substance to the claims that he is a lot sharper, he is a lot fitter, he is a lot more. You can just tell that he looks like he's working a bit harder to try and get in good shape for the season. And obviously, I've said countless times before, and I still stand by it. I honestly believe, I think Sunderland at the minute have a top 6 side, but I think Will Grigg could be the difference. And I think if we can get Grigg scoring, even O'Brien, if he can improve on his finishing, I think if we play like that, where for me today, if we play like that, consistently enough, results will come. I do think that there was enough today, from what I saw, especially in the first half. I think Grigg and O'Brien in particular, but especially Grigg, pressed Hull constantly and would not give them a moment's rest to settle. Sunderland's general pressing style I was very impressed with in general. I think that the intensity was so much better. The intensity was much more there than what I thought it would be. The intensity, especially in the first half, we were easily by country distance the better side. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Hull by saying that. Maybe it's down to the fact that Hull haven't played any pre-season games, allegedly anyway. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, that's pretty poor on their part, to be honest. But in saying that, for the first half, I was quite impressed with what I saw. I think, again, constantly getting down the channels, constantly getting in Hull's faces. That is exactly the type of aggression, and we were doing it aggressively as well. Not so much so that we're trying to injure people and get our players sent off, but the right amount, just a right amount of aggression. And I was very impressed with it. The only thing, again, that was lacking for me, especially in the first half, was the game intelligence in front of goal, where we had a couple of good opportunities. O'Brien especially had one very good chance, which was almost a one-on-one, and the keeper didn't even save it, which was pretty poor from O'Brien's perspective, but I'm going to be cautiously optimistic and say that was down to the first competitive game of football he'll have played in months, because I don't think he played for Millwall after the lockdown. Correct me if I'm in the comments below if I'm wrong, of course. But those 2, again, in particular, Grigg and O'Brien, I think, linked up exceptionally well, especially in the first half. And even in the second half, where even though you could tell we weren't going to be as good as we were in the first half, I still felt we were the better side. And Hull probably at best had 1 or 2, maybe 2 or 3 half chances, but nothing really too clear-cut. Not from what I can remember, anyway. I know Hull did definitely threaten a couple of times from set pieces, but in general, I thought Sunderland marshalled Hull quite well. I thought that, like I said, Grigg and O'Brien worked really well. I think Bailey Wright was very solid at the back, and you can tell that bringing him in, especially ahead of the salary cap, was a massive deal. Because imagine if we tried to bring him in after the salary cap, that would have been probably a lot harder of a deal to try and get into the club. Getting him in was huge, and keeping him fit is even huger, and I'm hoping that we can do so. As far as the other centre-backs, I think Flanagan didn't put a foot wrong. I think Willis got forward a few times very well. The work rate from the team was definitely there. Even Power made a good few. I know Sean really doesn't like him, but for me, Power actually did do a couple of better forward passes rather than just go sideways all the time. He did go sideways a couple of times, but not as much as what Sean, obviously points out that he does. Having said that, though, look, I am concerned slightly. I was slightly concerned about the fact we didn't finish our chances. I'm not too worried about that. I know I'm going to contradict myself here. I'm not too worried about that at the moment. If that was the case in a few weeks' time, when we've played a couple of league games and when this was still an issue, then I would start to get, a bit on edge about it. But for me, for the minute, like I said today, I was more bothered about the performance and how the team clicked together. And I saw enough in that display today to give me cautious optimism ahead of the new season. Look, obviously we've got a game on Tuesday night against Aston Villa's academy side, under 21s, under 23s, whatever it is these days, in the EFL Trophy. Look, I think that some of the players that didn't play today, I think, have to be playing in that game. I would even start Wyke. I would start. I was going to say Ballymumba, but he's not playing. Thanks, Stuart Donald. The likes of Jack Diamond, the likes of Dan Neal, those type of players. They deserve to have a chance and a shot in here. And Morgan Feeney as well. RB Hamarsley. I'm just going to call him that because it sounds cool. Then you've got them two. You've got Brandon Taylor. I think and Remy Matthews. It's best to give these guys a chance because we need to get some fitness in. I view the EFL Trophy games as a chance for fitness, not much more, to be perfectly honest. But in general, this season's a massive one, and the league is ultimately the priority. Look, I said it would have been nice to have won today, but or this weekend, whenever you're watching this, it would have been nice to have gone through. But at the same time, I was more bothered about the performance, and I got enough to be satisfied by it. Now that's only going to work if Sunderland continue this on a regular basis and really start to develop. If we play like this consistently, then I think results will definitely come. We just need to fine-tune the finishing touches, but I'm hoping it's just the fact they were rusty, especially Grigg and O'Brien. Let's just see where we go from there, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we do it. Look, I love you and leave you there, guys. I've rambled on enough. Take care of yourselves, and hopefully to a successful season. But how are the lads? And stay safe, everyone.